Hi. Greetings from Wisdom Lord Raphael. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification icon and don't miss any contents. This is the light novel of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. If you haven't watched previous video, I will leave the link on the description box, or you can click here. Let's start. This is Tensura Light Novel Volume 17. Tensura Light Novel. Volume 17. Fragments Across Space-Time. Chapter 1. The Ambition of Myourmiles. Business Tycoon. In just a few months, a branch of the Four Nations Trade Federation has been set up in every member country of the Council. I was elected as the representative of the Four Nations Trade Federation. Myourmiles Dono, whom Rimuru trusts, can trust me too. I'll leave everything to you. When Gazel, the king, gave me encouragement, I was so nervous that I felt paralyzed. As long as the king had said that, the dwarven officials had no objections. They may have been dissatisfied, but on the surface, they obediently followed. The king of Bloomin was troublesome. At first glance, he seemed to be a friendly man, but my gut feeling told me something else. And sure enough, negotiations with the king of Bloomin were not going to be easy. Ho, 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 you are the representative of the Federation, so you will have unimaginable power in the future. If Myourmiles Dono is going to take over the reins, I'll be at ease too. Ha ha, I'm honored. Well, I'll see you in the future. By the way, here it comes. I braced myself. In my country, we are in the process of training our staff for Rimuru Dono's project. We would, naturally, want to expect job security. Of course. In fact, the plan won't be able to move forward without the cooperation of those people. Well, I am relieved to hear that. Then, of course, you are aware of the situation in our country, are you not? The situation, sir. Let me put it simply. We have abolished all agriculture in our country. We are now selling off all the food stored in the national treasury to keep the people in line. We need your support. What? I couldn't help but exclaim, but I think it couldn't be helped. Of course I'll do everything I can, but I'm afraid I'm the only one. Well, I'm sure Rimuru Dono will smile and give us permission. He has built a world station of the magic train in our country, and I am sure that you will not abandon us for responding to your spirit. That's unreasonable. I want to scream at him for his absurd logic, but somewhere in my heart I am convinced. We have no manpower to begin with, and it would be a great help to us if all the people of the Bloomin Kingdom were to work for us. Therefore, I had only one answer. That's right. King of Bloomin, I swear to you that I will take responsibility for hiring all of Bloomin's people. Of course, you will leave the food aid to me as an advance on my salary. Ho ho ho, Myourmiles Dono is reliable. I would like to be able to continue relying and helping you with various things in the future as well. Therefore, please call me Drum. Well, what a surprise. A mere merchant like me is allowed to call him by his name. Oh, I'm afraid not. It could be a trap, so I refused it for the time being. Myourmiles, no, I'm going to go ahead and call you Guard Dono. No, I'm just a former commoner who was taken in by Rimuru-sama. Ho ho ho, no need for modesty. Nobody would think of Guard Dono, who is a friend of not only Rimuru Dono, but also Her Majesty Omija, as a mere commoner. Even I can't call her by her name, King Bloomin said with a straight face. If so, I assume that this is the reason that the King of Bloomin wants to have a close relationship with me. It's an honor to call him by name, and it's also a great way to build a good relationship. But what to do, well, don't bother. Come to think of it, it's not the name of the country over there. Prince Figaro is the representative of the country, so it's okay. Then, with His Majesty Drum. Wait, let's be on equal footing here. Even with Drum-chan. No, that's not right. I mean, it's absurd. Is that so? Yes, it is. I understand. Well, then may I call you Drum Dono from now on? I was afraid to change the name, since it was the person himself who had asked me to do so. I didn't want to be arrested for being rude, though I didn't believe that was likely. As a result, Drum Dono laughed happily at me. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Being friends with Guard Dono, I feel as if I have become a great person, said Drum Dono. I look forward to working with you as a friend in the future. Before I knew it, I had become friends with Drum Dono. I didn't know if I was allowed to do that, and I asked for help from others to see if they would disagree. It's not easy for me to make a decision like this. In that sense, this Drum Bloomin is undoubtedly an impressive man. I wish to build a good relationship with you for a long time. Please guide me as a friend, so that I do not become a fox that borrows the power of the tiger. I replied to Drum Dono with sincere respect. After the meeting with the king's drum dono, we had a practical meeting. Viryard Dono, who had risen up to the rank of Viscount, gave us a report on the current situation. He told me that they have enough food to last for 1 year and that their education is going well. Those with high ability have been dispersed throughout the country as an immediate asset. Well, in our country, we have always been very good at underworld espionage activities. Those people have gone to various countries to conduct price surveys and so on. We are working hard to train our administrative staff under the slogan "Rich country, wise people." Adults and children alike are working together to learn about world affairs and economics. I didn't doubt Drum Dono's words, but I didn't expect him to be as thorough as he was. If a king is a king, then his subjects are his subjects too. Oops, I can't help but be surprised. I understand. Then I would report on the progress of our plan. I too should stop hiding things. After that, I spoke about the current situation without hiding anything. The development of the magic train is going well. The construction of the rails is underway from the endpoint at Worgen via the intermediate Farminas to Bloomend in the middle of the line. The ingredients produced at Farminas is transported to Dworgen, where the cargo is replaced with industrial products. Then they unload at Farminas and send the rest to Bloomend. Eventually Bloomend will have to act as a collection point. Of course. So, food hygiene will be an important part of the job in the future. Yes, sir. Also, we would like Bloomend to consider where to sell the necessary supplies. Of course. I've explained that to the officials we sent to you as well. I heard you are Fuse Dono's best friend, but Viryard Dono is no exception. Come to think of it, Rimura-sama also told me that Viryard Dono is a shrewd man, so we can't be too careful. I see, this is indeed an opponent with whom we can't let our guard down. That's a good point. Then what do you intend to do about the abandoned land? I've made plans on that as well. Here in the vicinity of the royal capital, we have secured a site for the world station. From there, we will set up a vacant lot in all directions to connect to the city road. How? We've prepared some land on the outskirts of royal capital. We plan to connect it with the world station and make it a logistics base. My god. We were so well prepared, it was astonishing. From here, the negotiations began in earnest, without any bellyaching. Our monster kingdom will provide the labor force. We will build a huge world station and open a line to Dworgen. This will be followed by the opening of new routes to Sarian and Ingratia. With land prices likely to rise, it's imperative to secure a prime location before it's too late. This place, the Bloomend Kingdom, will be a logistics base in the future. I had planned to buy the best location for the site, but then, it's a branch of the Four Nations Trade Federation, but because the current location is temporary, I would like to build a new one. Don't worry. We've secured a special area for you. I had a bad feeling about that. I tried to decipher Viryard Dono's expression, but the smug smile on his face kept me from doing so. Does that mean you'll have to give it away? The land needed for stations and rails is treated as compensation for technology and labor, as well as joint expenses in the future, so there's no problem since we've discussed that it would be free. Therefore, I have put off the purchase of the branch's land until later, but the situation is getting worse. My fears have been proven true. No, please don't do that. In the Bloomend Kingdom, we have decreed that all land is the property of the state. And we have transitioned to a new form of government-loaned lands. They got me. Even I never would have guessed that they would pull off such a feat. I'm impressed that they've passed such a bill. I wonder how they managed to convince the aristocrats who have vested interests in it. What are the rents in that area? On a per square meter basis, we plan to pay $1 silver. It's not expensive. It's not cheap, but if you wanted to rent land in the capital of Ingratia, you'd need 3 silver coins per square meter. So it's better to buy, even if you have to pay income tax every year. But there is a bigger problem. The problem is that the other party can take control before the profit or loss. I don't think this would happen, but what if they raise the rent? If it is within the range of common sense, we can accept their request on a case-by-case basis. However, if they raise the rent unreasonably, one can't deny the possibility of quarrel. I understand that this is just a contingency, but older sister has told me to think about that eventuality. Now, just as I was wondering what to do, Viryard Dono grinned. Rents will fluctuate according to the economy, but here's an interesting story only for Myourmiles Dono. This guy really can't stop. I have a bad feeling, but I'm afraid I mustn't stop listening. What's the story? It's very simple. We in the Bloomend Kingdom would like to offer you a settlement concession as a token of our friendship. Concession, you say? Yes. It's about the special area mentioned earlier, and that we're willing to grant extraterritoriality to the special area by entering into a perpetual land lease that will be in effect permanently. My god. I was surprised, but it was too good to be true. It seems that Viryard Dono is going to explain it to me before I even have time to ponder what kind of a backstory there is. There's no backstory. It was His Majesty Drum's idea. I was against it, but the other ministers voted for it and it was adopted. There are equal advantages and disadvantages to this idea. The disadvantage, of course, is that we will be hit by other countries if we sell off our land. Well, I guess so. I was surprised that they didn't try to hide it, but when I heard it was Drum Dono's idea, it made sense. And I think I see the merits of it. The advantage is, of course, that we can expect your country to invest in us to the fullest. Also, we have decided that our country can gain an advantage by adding various conditions to the permanent land lease contract. What do you mean? The question is what kind of conditions will be added? What? It's simple. 1. That you employ our citizens as your employees. The other is that I want you to establish a headquarters for the Four Nations Trade Federation in our country. I see, I thought to myself. If the headquarters of the Four Nations Trade Federation is in the Bloomin' Kingdom, it will not only become a logistic center, but also a center of the world economy. Replacing the current position of the Ingratia Kingdom would not be an impossibility, and the value of the Bloomin' Kingdom will skyrocket. Land prices will rise, of course, and the real estate income alone will be very lucrative if the representatives of each country have embassies there. Unlike tourist destinations, this one is not affected by the economy. Moreover, it promises jobs for the people of Bloomond. After that, we had a detailed discussion with Viryard Dono and signed a contract. The contract is basically to protect each other's rights and interests. For example, all contracts will be cancelled in the event of a war. I thought it was satisfactory, but I wanted to hear what Viryard Dono really thought for future reference. I would like to ask you one thing. What is it? Well, Viryard Dono was against the deal, or so I'm told. I'd like to know what you think about the result. Because the content is such that we gave preferential treatment to the Four Nations Trade Federation, miscellaneous matters such as explanations to other countries will increase. I was wondering if he wasn't amused, if not displeased. Oh, I see. Then Viryard Dono looked thoughtful. He got up without looking at me, and then, while I was wondering what was on his mind, walked to the window and looked out. Viryard Dono clears his throat in front of me. I'm talking to myself, so please pay me no mind. After refusing that, he opened his mouth seriously. A nobleman is a creature who never shows his true feelings. You must not. If the negotiations turn out to be unfavorable, they will say that things went as planned. Otherwise, you will show your opponent weakness. I said, I was against it. That is, I want you to understand that I was for it at the time of the negotiations. I was surprised that was the real intention. If so, it was exactly what Viryard Dono was aiming for. Oh dear. I still have a long way to go. I thought I was good at dealing with noblemen, too. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to represent the Four Nations Trade Federation if this continues. No, Myourmiles Dono is a tough guy, even from my point of view. Excuse me. Ha, I'll take that as a compliment. I looked at Viryard Dono with a wry smile. Unexpectedly, Viryard Dono laughed too. His usual cool expression belied the humanity in his face. That's why I couldn't help but smile at him. I hope you won't be offended, but would you be interested in working for me? Well, he'd definitely say no. But there was still a hint of truth in my questioning. I was confident that having a man of Viryard Dono's caliber working for me would give us the best possible advantage as we expand our operations in the Ingratia Kingdom, which would be plaguing us in the near future. Ha, it's not my place to say anything. If you can pass this off as a joke. No, it's an interesting suggestion. What? I looked intently at Viryard Dono's face. He's very serious, not a joke in sight. Are you serious? Yes. I'm actually thinking about changing my job, too. After saying this, Viryard Dono told me about the current situation and future prospects for the Bloomin' Kingdom. The rich and wise are a double-edged sword. The future of the people is secure, but the status of the nobility will be shaken in the future. Yes. I'd like Myourmiles Summit to hire me. However, is it okay to treat me as a consultant for the time being? Of course. I understand his position as a nobleman. He won't be able to move much for a while. But I'm counting on Viryard Dono's intellect and experience, so there's no harm in being a consultant. Of course. I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much. Viryard Dono and I shook hands with each other, laughing invincibly. With Viryard Dono as my advisor, the Four Nations Trade Federation began to grow steadily. And now the time has come for us to face our worst enemies in business, the big merchants. Are you going to be in Ingratia Kingdom today, guard-san? The one who asked was Bid, who was in charge of the escort. We have gotten to know each other well and have allowed each other to call us by our names. I heard that they are of legendary status, but they're common in the Monster Kingdom. I think I'll only lose if I look into everything, so I'm just going to let it slide. That's right. I have an important meeting today and I'm afraid I'm going to have to go somewhere dangerous. Huh. I guess it's my turn too. What are you talking about, brother Gobaman? You don't have a chance with me here. Huh, I'm not so sure about that. Gobaman Dono is laughing at the confident bid. Gobaman Dono became a Kijin, but his skin color remained the same. I guess that's the difference between individuals. He's grown horns too, but they're small, so he hides them with a bandana or hat. He was wearing a hat that matched his suit and looked stylish. He still seems like a hobgoblin at first glance, so it's easy to catch any opponents off guard. Bid is stronger now, but he's still unreliable. Gobaman Dono has always helped me as my bodyguard. I'm leaving it up to them to protect me, but today I'm afraid it might not be enough. After all, the merchants who control the Western nations are the ones we are meeting today. But I needn't worry about that. After all, Rimuru-sama knows what we have planned for today. Whether the negotiations go well or not, my safety is assured. So for now, I want to enjoy this comfortable tension. To straighten up after a long absence, the three of us have decided to wear dark suits today. Now, are you ready? I asked, and Bid and Gobaman Dono nodded emphatically. I steeled myself and headed to the hotel where we were to meet. The automatic door opened. Sir, may I ask your name? With a refined motion, the hotel clerk inquired. Myourmiles. Oh, I'm so sorry. May I see your ID, just in case? Is this okay? Myourmiles-sama, we've been expecting you. Everything is set up right away. The venue is here. The venue this time is where the aristocrats hold balls and other events. There were already many people milling about, and all eyes were on me as I entered. So that's the representative of the Four Nations Trade Federation, the organizer of this event. He looks familiar. He was a very smart businessman, if I remember correctly. That man, I hear that he has taken over Demon Lord Rimuru and taken his current position. That's right. But don't underestimate him. I hear that the trade in Monster Country was arranged by that man. Rumor has it he gained some leverage over a beleaguered retail community. It's a nouveau riche after all. The Rosso family's influence is now a thing of the past, and although there seems to be a move to rewind in the Dolan General Kingdom, the other 5 great elders show no signs of being replaced. It's probably over. In other words, whoever takes the lead at today's meeting will be promised the power of the next generation. Fufufu, I won't let a newcomer like that take that place. I'm not calling for a bunch of rednecks like Four Nations Trade Federation. But the Monster Kingdom is tricky. Right. Their military might is not to be underestimated, and I hear that a woman named Tensura or something like that has even taken control of the council. Well, let's see what he can do, shall we? And I'm sure Demon Lord Rimuru will also give preference to those who are more competent. And so on and so forth, the flowers of rumor are blooming madly. Everyone seems to be curious about me. The conversation is so obvious that I can hear it. These are the tycoons of the old days, whom I would have once had difficulty meeting. One only has to look at the rumors of the 5 great elders to see the breadth of their connections. Those who live, as if they were living horses. That desire is endless, and instead of being frightened by the fall of Rosso, they are enthusiastic about the opportunity. I can't let my guard down. I brace myself even more. That's all for today, hope you guys enjoy it. Please check my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit the notification icon. And don't miss any updates. Thank you for watching.